Shin Megami Tensei Persona 3, a game that was released in 2006 to almost near universal acclaim, a game which fans obsess over, a game that has a very powerful message, and a game that, I've been a part of the Persona community for a while, and I get a lot of people claiming that Persona 3 is the best out of the spin-off series. While it can easily be someone's favorite title, it got me thinking, is it? Is Persona 3 the best in the series? I've decided today to take my skills from studying both game development and game analysis to put this argument to rest. Let us find out how Persona 3 sits in the year 2020, and whether or not it can be regarded as the best Persona game in the whole entire franchise. So let's start with the graphics of the game, and let's throw them out the bloody window. The game came out in 2006, so it's unfair to use this as a point that makes the game the best overall. I mean, Persona 5 clearly has the best graphics in the series. It's come out the latest and it's had more powerful technology driving it, so we can put that point in the bin. However, that doesn't mean we can't talk about the art style of the game. The art style of Persona 3 set the basis of the art style for the rest of the franchise, which is fairly important. It created a unique anime aesthetic that all of us associate with the game franchise. It also has a great aesthetic atmosphere which suits the nature of the game, and aids the theme of the game, which is death. It uses a lot of vibrant colouring next to the harsh dark colouring to emphasize points of focus, to not only be able to guide the player during dungeon crawling, but to emphasize messaging of the game as well. We also see the use of naturalistic colour schemes for the overworld, and these are so different to the dungeon crawling colour schemes because it gives the player a very good idea of whether or not they are still in the Shadow World or, just chilling on the streets. Following this, we can look at the story and the theme of Persona 3. The theme of Persona 3 is strong, and the story aged this theme really well. The development of the characters is thorough, not only through the plot, but also because of character interactions which are called social links. As it is a relatively long title, this gives room for the story to almost naturally progress, rather than it just skipping from one point to the other. This game also uses foreshadowing effectively to give players subtle hints as to what may happen next. Overall, the game's theme of death is strongly supported by a complex and interesting story that has time to blossom throughout the game rather than just being thrown into the wind. So far, Persona 3 only has good merits. We have two big ticks for the art style of the game and the plot, which are two major aspects of any video game. However, we haven't touched on the thing that makes it a video game: the gameplay. This is where Persona 3 falls very short. And keep in mind, I'm not talking about Persona 3 Portable or FES, I'm just talking about the base Persona 3. The turn-based combat system of Persona 3 is rather well thought out, just like any other Shin Megami Tensei title. They've been working on it and perfecting it for years, so there is no argument in saying that it works really well. The things that do not work very well in this title really boil down to two things. The first thing is not being able to control your allies in fights. I know, everybody knows this. You know what? This isn't usually a problem, right? Especially while you're just making your way up the floors of Tartarus. But as soon as you encounter a boss, the fight becomes a lot more difficult. You basically only have yourself to rely on for doing the correct thing in a fight, as the AI will try numerous amounts of things and they won't even settle on the thing that is most effective for the fight. I'm looking at you, Miss Marin Karen. This also puts a lot more pressure on you to either grind so that upcoming bosses cannot hurt you as much, or make sure you have a persona of almost every damage type in your arsenal to utilize in the fight. It becomes draining and annoying to have to play a casual game with these parameters all of the time, but on the other hand, create some great quality memes, am I right, boys? Huh? No? Okay, I'll stop. Hey guys, it's Reza Unleashed from the future, and I completely forgot about the mechanic in Persona 3, the tiredness mechanic. God, that sucks. Okay, it just sucks. The tiredness mechanic is not good. It was not a thing in Persona 1 to 4 and 5, and for a good reason. It It encouraged diversity in your party, but you know, it wasn't great. Like, oh, it was so gut-wrenchingly annoying. Oh, you can't go to tournaments today, so you can't. Oh, it was bad. All right, it was just bad. Okay, now back to more insightful commentary from your Power Resin Unleashed. The second thing is Tartarus itself. It doesn't engage the player for the entire duration that you have to travel through it. Over 250 floors that are randomly generated, and they just require you to find the stairs to keep moving higher. I mean, fun. While from a technical standpoint this is rather cool, you know, being able to randomly seed floors like this and get a result that works is just amazing from a technical standpoint. But from a gameplay standpoint, it gets repetitive, and it ultimately comes at the price of boring landscapes and goals. Now guys, you're probably thinking about Persona 4, and while the dungeon landscapes were very similar, they did have a little bit of improvement making them different, and eventually incorporating puzzles and schemes into them. But don't get me wrong, they can still also be just as boring and repetitive as Tartarus in Persona 3. You're just, you know, finding stairs and hitting shadows on the floor. When does that not eventually get boring, right? Unless you're a god, if you don't find that boring over like 200 floors, oh my god. You need to like ascend into heaven, my man. So now, you're probably thinking about the overworld of Persona 3 because I haven't talked about it yet. Now I have some great news for you all. It works well, and there's no room to complain about it. The ability to go to and from locations is great. You've even got fast travel. The social links work as expected, and they're good by the way. And the way you can buy items and whatnot is very straightforward and simple to use. What can we say about Persona 3 from all this? The game doesn't hold up, unfortunately, and it can't be the best Persona game in the franchise unless the others have things as wrong with the core gameplay as Persona 3 does. I can certainly say that is not the case just by bringing up how much they improved the formula for Persona 5. And before you go on and on about me just praising Persona 5 and everyone praising Persona 5, oh look at me, oh I like Persona 5. They worked on Persona 5 for a very long time, so they had a very long time to improve the formula. And suffice to say, it did work. While Persona 3 has a great aesthetic, story, and was the foundation for what Persona would eventually become, it truly cannot objectively be the best game in the series due to its overall flaws. What I would personally like to see if Atlus did go back to Persona 3 and bring it back to newer systems would be to remaster it rather than just purely remake the game. I do believe that if they would redesign a few gameplay mechanics of Persona 3 in a remaster, this game could then be able to claim the title of the best Persona game in the spin-off series. Now, I think you guys know the drill. With all that out of the way, I'm Resin Unleashed, the one who is still suffering by writing my massive script for the next video I have planned, and it's still not done. It's been a week. And you know what? I will see you guys next time. Catch you later.